Recently, I had a pretty big falling out with my parents, and it's complicated, but I'll try to put the situation as simply as possible. Let me start off by introducing myself. I'm a 33-year-old interior designer, and I don't plan on getting married or having kids anytime soon. In fact, having kids has never been part of the plan, and that's part of the reason why my parents had always been unhappy with me because up until the age of 25, they thought that I was just messing around by saying I did not want children. But as I grew older, they started to realize that I was actually being serious and I really did not intend on expanding our family or whatever. Since then, the relationship between my parents and me has been quite sour because they're always trying to get me to change my mind and they are always trying to tell me that in the future, if I do end up wanting kids, I'm going to regret not having them because at the end of the day, having children is how one feels complete in the end. But that's just their opinion. I don't really agree with it. They have also been bugging me to get married for the past couple of years. They want me to get into a serious relationship and settle down as quickly as possible. But I don't think that's what I want for my life. And I'm completely content with the kind of life that I have right now. So we have had a lot of fights, and that's why our relationship has been very strained. As opposed to that, their relationship with my sister has been very easygoing, and they almost act as if I should be taking a leaf out of her book because she's married and has a daughter, and right now has another baby on the way. So naturally, whenever we're all together, they make it a point to hype up my sister and her family life, probably to make it seem like it's something very enticing and make me want to be a part of something like that. So far, it has never worked. It's only annoyed me and nothing else. And on top of that, I actually know the situation that my sister is in. But she doesn't like talking to our parents about it because they're just going to make a big deal out of it. Our parents are quite the paranoid and overreactive kind of people, and they would just get hyper and weird. So my sister hasn't told them anything about the reality of her family life. But I know everything. And I'm the one who's actually been helping her for the past year and a half. And yes, I mean it in a financial sense because things have been pretty bad for her and her husband, and my parents knew nothing about it, which is why they did something very stupid that has caused all the trouble. Basically, a couple of days back, they invited me over for dinner, and it was just me when I showed up. My sister was not there. Instantly, I knew that there was something wrong. And initially, I thought that they were here too, to have some sort of intervention or whatever. And I was prepared for that mentally, but I was not prepared for what they actually told me. While we were having dinner, they told me that they had decided to leave everything, their whole inheritance, to my sister instead of me, because it was the more practical thing to do. It came as a bit of a shock to me because I'm not saying it's a lot, but it's definitely not nothing. And I did expect something from my parents, regardless of the kind of relationship we have had for the past couple of years. So this came as a huge shock. And then they told me that this was because she had a family to take care of in the future, but I did not have one and I could support myself just fine. So, with that in mind, they had decided to revise their will and they had left most of their inheritance to her. They told me that they thought it would be better for them to discuss it with me rather than me finding out later, and they wanted me to know that it was nothing against me, but given the lifestyle that I had chosen for myself, this seemed the only fair thing to do. I was obviously shocked because this literally felt like punishment for not living life according to them, for not doing what they wanted me to do. So I made that clear to them. I also told them the truth about how I had been helping my sister financially for the past couple of months because the company that her husband works in has been having a difficult time, and he got laid off a few months back after several months of pay cuts and difficulties. And obviously, it would be next to impossible for her to continue living the same kind of life and supporting herself on her own salary, along with her husband and also her daughter, and with another baby on the way. So she's been taking help from me, and I had gladly been doing it for her, but they didn't know anything about it, and they just wanted me to be punished for choosing my own life and not doing things their way. I told them that I knew for a fact that they had never respected my lifestyle. They had never respected me, and this was just proof of it. And because I know how much the reputation matters to me, just to rub it in, I told them that this was the last straw for me. And after this, I was not going to have anything to do with them. And if anybody asks, I was going to tell them the truth about why we don't talk anymore. And we'll see how they like being portrayed like that to others in the family. They started to tell me that I was not being fair and they were only looking out for their kids. And if I did not have children, then it was only more practical to leave more of the inheritance to the daughter who actually needed it, my sister. They also said that, to be fair, they had no idea that I had been helping her out financially. And if they had known that, things might have been different. They told me that they were going to change the will again now that they know this information, so there'll be no need for me to cut them off or whatever. But I was not having it. I knew that for them, the most important thing was to present ourselves as a happy family no matter what's going on. But if they wanted to portray themselves as the best parents whose kids got along with them, the least they could have done was at least make an effort to make sure that I got along with them. And in the past couple of years, they have not done anything of that sort. They have always alienated me, made me feel bad for my choices, tried to guilt trip me into changing my mind all the time. And this time, they had crossed all the lines. They had literally just written me out of their will, and they didn't even bother to consult me. They just told me about it and expected me to be fine with it, but I was not fine with this anymore. I told them that I cannot deal with this kind of treatment anymore. They have never respected my choices, and they have made it clear time and again that they're going to do their best to make sure that I feel bad about how I'm living, and I'm not here for that kind of treatment anymore. I told them that I will definitely be cutting them off, and that if anybody from the family asks, I will be telling them the truth. I'm not going to cook up some story to make them look better than they are. Having said that, I left. And they tried to stop me, but I didn't even care because I was that furious. The next thing that I did was call my sister up and told her everything that happened. And thankfully, she and I have a very good relationship, and she told me that she should have seen this coming. She told me that obviously what they did was extremely wrong, but at the same time, I can't really blame them completely because in reality, they did not actually know that I had been helping my sister out financially. And in fact, they did not even know that my sister had been struggling. She said that she was not defending them in the strictest sense of the word, but she did believe that I had to cut them some slack, and she said that it was totally unnecessary for me to threaten them with the reputation thing because it would just seem extremely petty. Now, I don't know if my sister's being neutral or if she's siding with them, but the fact that she's not wholeheartedly with me on this has definitely been bothering me a bit, honestly. I think it's pretty clear that my sister and I are very important to each other, and we have become even closer in the past year and a half because of everything that we have shared. However, ever since we had that conversation and I told her everything that had happened and she told me that I needed to cut our parents some slack, I don't know. I've been a bit distant and I don't want that in our relationship. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like she's defending our parents, even though they are totally in the wrong here. See, even if they did not know that I had been helping my sister out, even if they did not know that my sister had been struggling financially, it still doesn't make sense for them to totally, completely cut me out of the will just because I don't have children. I mean, under usual circumstances, I probably wouldn't have cared much, But for the past couple of years, they have made it increasingly evident that they don't respect my life choices, or I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this or whatever. But anyway, my point is, I don't like what they did, and I don't think that I need to cut them any sort of slack or whatever. And to be honest, the fact that they did not know that I had been helping my sister out with money and that she had been struggling is all the more reason for them to have split the inheritance equally instead of giving it all away to her. I don't think that I would be petty if I told the rest of the family what they did and let them be judged. Besides, it's not even like I'm saying that I'm going to go out of my way to talk crap about my parents. All I have said is that I'm going to cut them off, and that if anybody asks why, then I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm not going to lie to cover up for them. I don't think that's as bad as my sister's making it out to be. But anyway, what do you guys think? AITA for wanting to punish my parents because they decided to cut me out of their will so they could prioritize my sister who has children while I don't? Update 1. Hi, so it's been a week and a half since my previous post here, and like a lot of you suggested, I decided to speak to my sister and clear things out with her because I did not like fighting with her. I mean, we weren't fighting, we were just being a bit distant. It was actually not even that she was being distant. She was trying to call me and text me, but I was being aloof. So I decided to clear the air with her. We had lunch earlier today, and I just put it all out there. Everything that I had put in my post, I said to her, like you guys suggested. I thought that she was going to get defensive and everything, but that did not happen. In fact, she let me speak. She let me pour my heart out, and after I was done, she told me that she could totally understand where I was coming from and that she was very sorry if she had hurt me because that was totally unintentional. She was only trying to be unbiased here, and she told me that obviously she was not going to be able to understand what I have been through, so she was only going to be able to see things from her point of view. So that's why she had a very different opinion in the beginning. But now that she has heard how I had been feeling for the past couple of years, especially because of how our parents had been treating me, she could see why I was still furious with them. I mean, obviously, I had complained to her in the past about how our parents treated me, but today I guess I just vented in detail about it, the way I had never before, and it became clear to her that at the end of the day, these things did not bother me, even though I tried to make it seem like they were just minor annoyances. She told me that at the end of the day, it was my choice what I wanted to do, and she was not going to try to influence that. She respected what I was feeling. She respected the fact that I wanted to cut my parents out of my life, whether temporarily or permanently. And she knew that ultimately I was a good person and I was going to make the right choice. So she was not going to try and stand in my way, and she was going to be by my side no matter what I choose. Honestly, that helped a lot. Because, like I said, my sister's opinions hold a lot of value in my life. She's the only person in my family who I love wholeheartedly. So I'm glad that we were able to sort everything out without letting this go further. Anyway, all that was sorted out, and that was about me. We also spoke at length about what my sister was going to do because apparently our parents recently confronted her as well for hiding her financial condition from them, and they were not happy. And even that's an understatement, to be very honest. So, yes, if anybody thinks that my sister's relationship with my parents has always been perfect, that's not the case either. It's pretty obvious that my parents can be very overbearing, and it was the same with her as well. For me, they constantly wanted me to change my mind about marriage and kids. They wanted me to settle down and everything, but with her, it was very different in the sense that they wanted her to do better. When she first started dating her husband and introduced him to the family, my parents were not very happy about him and how deeply my sister seemed to be into him. He did not come from the kind of family that my parents had expected. His dad had passed away when he was a child, and since then he had been handling all the finances of his family on his own. So he hadn't even been able to go to college. And financially, it has always been a struggle for him. But my sister loved him, and she still does. That's never going to change, and I really respect that about her. And I really have to say, my brother-in-law, no matter how much he has struggled in his life, he has always made sure that he tries to smile his way through it. And he's so, so good to my sister. I don't think that there could be a more perfect couple. But anyway, in the beginning, my parents did not approve of this choice, and my sister had to convince them a lot in order to make them feel better about her decision to get married to him. Eventually, though, my parents started noticing that I was going to create very different problems in the sense that I didn't seem to be inclined to getting married or having kids at all. So they started picking on that more, and my sister was golden. But now, since my parents know the truth about how they have been struggling financially and have had to take help from me, they've been very unhappy with my sister. And in the past few conversations that she has had with them, they've made it very clear that they're very disappointed. They keep hinting that they knew something like this was going to happen, even though before my brother-in-law's company started struggling, he was doing decently for himself. Right now, he's looking for a job while simultaneously working on a business model so he can start his own company with his ex-colleagues. So it's not like he's sitting at home and doing nothing. And to be fair, in this economy, this could happen to anybody. It's not happening just because he did not come from a financially strong background. Even people who have gone to college, who have business degrees, who worked with him, have also been laid off just the same. So trying to make it seem like my sister made a bad call by marrying him and now she has to suffer for it, that's just rude, and I don't understand this reaction from them. To be very honest, I feel like our parents are being way too demanding. They're just trying to control our lives all the time. They're not happy with whatever we're doing, and that's why our relationship with them is not working out right now. With my sister, they were not happy with her choice of partner. With me, they're not happy with my choice of not having a partner at all. And I just don't understand what they want from us. It feels like they have very hyper specific expectations from us, and they get upset every time we fail to live up to them. And they make us feel guilty and sad about it, and I just can't deal with this kind of pressure anymore. My sister has also been distancing herself from them, especially after that confrontation, because they were not very nice about the whole thing, like I said. They made her feel like it was all her fault for getting married to her husband, and that was simply not done. On top of that, they started making her feel guilty for never sharing any of this with them, even though the reason why she had never shared any of this with them was because they had reacted exactly how she expected them to react. And I think I spoke about it in my original post as well. She knew they were going to overreact. They were going to make a huge deal out of it. Maybe somewhere deep down she knew that they were still not happy with her decision of getting married to the man that they did not approve of. And she did not want them to make this whole thing about that. And they did exactly what she had thought they would do. So they just proved her point that she was right for never telling them all along and for relying on me for help. Anyway, I just don't understand why it's so difficult for my parents to be good to us. Why it's so difficult for them to just accept that we're grown ups now and that we have our own lives and they have to let us make our own decisions. They cannot just control every aspect of our lives, especially if they want to maintain a good relationship with us. It's insulting. We're in our 30s now. She's been married and she has her own kids, and they don't understand that this is humiliating and frankly very stupid of them to expect us to keep maintaining a good relationship with them, pretending that the way they try to control us doesn't bother us. I bet they're going to learn now since I'm cutting them off, and my sister has been distancing herself from them of late. Update 2. Okay, so it's been a month since my previous update, and I haven't been talking with my parents for quite a while now. They had tried to reach out to me after that fight I had with them. They had tried to text and call, but I had ignored them, and after a while, they just gave it up. If they had tried to say that they were very sorry for everything, then maybe I would have responded. But they just kept getting defensive and everything, and I really can't deal with that. So for the past month, I have not been speaking to them. I've been busy with my life. And yeah, I've not had time to think about any of this either. But today in the morning, I received a phone call from my mother, and that's when I remembered that it's Mother's Day today. And I guess she wanted to remind me of that or something. Anyway, I did not pick up the phone, not on purpose, but because I was in the shower at that point in time, and I was going to leave for work in a while anyway. So the call went to voicemail, and she left me a message telling me that regardless of everything that had happened, she still loved me a lot, and even my father does. And they miss me a lot, and they really want to improve things with me. She said that she regrets a lot of things that she's said and done in the past, and so does my dad. And they really want me to come over for dinner this weekend so we can sort everything out and be a family once more. She also said that since it was Mother's Day, she hoped that I would give her one more chance and she would not let me down this time. And she really wants me to come back. So I called my sister up to check if she had received any message like this. And she had one message from my mom too. Right now, we are still thinking about whether we want to go or not. But I have to say, that message did make me realize that I do miss them sometimes. It's not like something I constantly think about, but yeah, listening to her voice again definitely made me feel a little bad. And she sounded pretty sincere in that message, so I don't know what I'm going to do about this. Maybe I'm feeling soft because it's Mother's Day or whatever, or maybe it's time to bury the hatchet, but yeah, I guess I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sort everything out with them or not. I don't know if my sister's going to be able to let everything go or not, but I guess it's worth a try. She also hasn't been talking to them for the past couple of weeks. She started ignoring them too, shortly after I did, so it's been weird for her as well. I guess it's time to at least try to talk it out. I'm not going into this with any expectations or anything though, so let's see how this goes now. Update 3. Hey, so my sister and I finally went over to their house for dinner, and we had dinner with the parents today, and we finally came back a couple of hours ago, so I don't know where to begin, but I guess I have to say that it's a lot better than what I had expected. I had thought that we were going to have a big fight again, but that's not what happened, and they seem to be genuinely sorry for everything that has happened. I think they realized that if they kept up this super controlling behavior, then they were going to lose both their daughters. They were quite welcoming and they genuinely made an effort to talk things through with both of us. They put their point across without being condescending or without getting defensive, and they said that they were trying to look for us. But they did not realize that in that process they had become very overbearing and they had started messing with our individuality and they had made it seem like they did not respect our life or our freedom. And they did not want to be that way anymore, so now they were genuinely going to make a solid effort to be better. And they wanted us to just give them some time, to be patient with them and just be with them. Both of them looked pretty sincere about it, so in the end we agreed, but we did say that we were going to need some time to get used to it and everything, because after all, we did spend almost a month not even talking to each other, so it's going to take some time to get past the awkwardness and everything. And they said that we can take as long as we need to, but they would just hope that we forgive them. The fact that we agreed to dinner with them and the fact that they were actually trying to make an effort, I think that speaks volumes to the fact that all of us are willing to change so that we can keep our family together. And I think this means something. Honestly, I'm really happy I decided to go and have dinner with them and try to talk it out because I think it was the right thing too. I think my sister feels the same way as well because I dropped her home and On the drive back home, we spoke at length about everything and we agreed that it was a good thing to have done. Besides, she's going to give birth to her second child in a couple of months, so she would want her kids to have both sets of grandparents. And yeah, I think it's good that we made this choice. I just hope that my parents also hold up their end of the deal and that they really try to make an effort to change now. Update 4. Hey, so it's been a year and a half since my previous update, and things have been going well with my family. My parents and I have managed to put our differences in the past, and things with my sister are also going pretty well. She's a mother of two children now, and she and her husband are running their new business together. My parents are actually the first ones to show faith in my brother-in-law's vision. And they invested in the business, and it's been up and running for the past couple of months, and they're doing pretty well. They have already broken even with a little help from everybody that they know, word of mouth and everything. And I'm really happy for them. I'm also dating somebody. I've been seeing my boyfriend for the past 6 months, and things are getting pretty serious. He's even on the same page as me about not having children. Though we might get married sometime in the future, but that's still a long way away. Anyway, my parents are happy and my family is doing well, and that's all that matters. I'm happy that I decided to give them a chance because in the past couple of months, we have made a lot of progress in terms of fixing things, and we are all as close as I hoped to be in the past. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.